In our practice exercise 12.1 starString, we want to write a method called starString. So let's do that first. Public starString. It's going to accept an integer as parameter. We'll do int n, and it returns a string of stars. So it's still in our header. We'll make this a string, and it should have a asterisk, which are stars, of 2n. And so that's 2 to the nth power. So if we were to do this in a for loop, we would run it basically in a is equal to 0, and a has to be less than math.pow 2 to the power of n, and then just a plus plus, printing all of these out. So let's print that first. So for a for loop, because you can really kind of get with recursion if you look at loops, because recursion is basically just a really complex loop. In a is equal to 0, a is less than math.pow, because we want our power. Then we have 2n, and then a plus plus. So always think of recursion as looping. So if we're looping, right, the first thing that we need to do with recursion is have a base case. That's essentially going to be how we end our loop, like ending a for loop. So let's do a base case. But before we do that, we should handle this right here. Our method should throw in a legal argument exception if passed a value less than 0. So let's do that now. If our n is less than 0, then we're going to throw a new illegal argument exception, and then we'll end this line. Otherwise, we'll do our base case now. So if we don't just completely end it, we'll be in our base case. So it's going to be an else if, and that's going to be when our n is equal to 0. Because if we take this last one, for example, if we pass in 4 and n is equal to 4, we can't really increase anything. We can only decrease to get to the very end. So we are going to want our base case to be 0, so we decrement this entire time, printing out these stars. So else if n is equal to 0, our base case is just to print this asterisk. So we're just going to print this so we can return a string like this. That's going to be our base case. Otherwise, we're going to do some recursion up in here. So else, we are going to want to return, and this is where we call our method again. So starString, we're going to continuously call this. To eventually get to the end, we're going to have to subtract 1 from it. This is incrementing. We're going to want to subtract 1. n minus 1. Now, this is only going to produce half of the results that we want, because it's to the power of 2. Since this is the power of 2, we want to add to this again. Think of it as the following. If we have 4 being passed in, then we have 3 passed in. And actually, we can draw this out really quickly. And let's say we're passing in int n is equal to 4. So for int n is equal to 4, we're going to hop into our return statement, where we do a recursion of starting at 3. So we have 3 plus 3. We'll go down again, but this is going to become 2. And it's going to be the same for the other side, but let's just only do it for this one side. And then we'll kind of just add it together, basically multiply it by 2 for the other side, since this is the same thing. So we have 2 here, right? And then what do we have after that? Well, we're going to have 1 for each of these. And then we are going to have 0 for each of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 zeros here. We would have 4 zeros for this. And then 4 and 4, that's 8 times 2, because of this one right here, would give us the 16 that we want right here. Hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions, as always, you can leave them in the comments below. If you want more practice problems, they're in the playlist below the like button. And I do have an error here. My mistake here was I need to return. So we're going to return this string right here. And that'll pass 6 out of 6 tests. And that's the code for this exercise 12.1 starString.